Golfers Dean with golfallyear.com, and today I'm excited about this video because this is my Garmin Approach R10 review, and this is part one. It's been a process, and I want to break this up into multiple parts because there's so much to talk about with the R10, and so I'm going to break it up into different parts. We're going to talk today about the uh, setup and the features and maybe we'll get to the ease of use in this video, and then down the road we'll talk about the graphics and the accuracy and the bang for your buck and overall, and I'll try to help you see if this Garmin Approach R10 is for you. And this is my honest review. I am not being sponsored by Garmin. I have 3 different launch monitors. I have multiple golf simulators in the budget range and in this range, and I've hit on the SkyTrack, which is the next level up. So I'm familiar with a lot of different golf simulators, a lot of different launch monitors, and so I want to give an honest review of the Garmin Approach R10. And so I'd like to start with the features of this, and I'm going to give you a score and kind of rate on a scale of 1 to 5 on what I think the features are, and then I'll get into the setup and those other things. So I'm hoping to do a multiple video review on the Garmin Approach R10. So let's dig right in and see what we get. Start out by talking about the features of the Garmin Approach R10. It has a lot of different features packed into a small package. The Garmin R10 is very portable. You can see it comes in a nice little carry case. It is extremely small. Okay, it's hand size, so you can take it anywhere. You can take it to the driving range. You can take it on the course. I've hit it on the course. You can use it inside or out. You can use it at home. And so it's easily portable. They give you a nice little stand that you can use, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the setup. But a lot of neat things to be able to pack into such a small portable device. And so the Garmin Approach is very portable. The second thing that I want to talk about is the stats that it gives. It will give you a lot of different stats that many of the other launch monitors and golf simulators in that price range is not going to be able to give you. And so it has a list of them. I'll talk about some of those in a minute, but you know, it does pack a lot of stats in there. It also gives you the capabilities of a driving range. And so it has a driving range that you can hit and keep track of all your stats and keep track of everything that you need to use. So let's take a look at some of those stats. Another neat feature that it has is that it will track the ball, so there's no need to switch clubs. And unlike the OptiShot, where if you hit a top of ball, because it tracks the club, the OptiShot tracks the club. If you top a ball, you know, and the OptiShot is still going to fly in the with the Garmin Approach, it tracks the ball, so it will show that it was topped or poorly hit. And so because it's tracking the ball, it's a lot different than tracking the club. And so you get a lot of neat things with that, neat stats with tracking the ball. Now, with that, you also can take your stats, and a neat thing is it will connect to the Garmin watch or the Garmin Connect. I have a Garmin watch, and so all my rounds and things that I do with my Garmin watch and all the things I do on the R10 are all put in one area. And so one space online that I can use and look at and compare and, kind of study. So kind of neat that it connects with all the Garmin, devices. And so one of the other features that you want to be aware of is that this has a couple of ways to actually play a real golf course, okay, or a course. So it gives you not only the launch monitor aspect, but it also will give you the golf simulator aspect. So it connects to E6, and with E6, if you ever seen the E6 software, I've done some videos on that. But if you ever look at the E6 software, you will see that it has a lot of different options. And you can play real courses, you can download different courses, you can play different games, different modes. It has a lot of stuff, the E6 software. So it does connect with E6. Hopefully down the road, it'll connect with some other software golf companies. So you can do other simulations and other courses and kind of get a different view. It also has a feature called the Home Tee Hero, which you can play 42,000 different courses. It's more, the graphics aren't great, and some of the accuracy things on the Home Tee Hero aren't great, and I'll talk about that later. So, in terms of that, you may not get as much of the simulation, but it's still able to play local courses, and you're able to play 42,000 courses around the United States and such. So, that's a kind of neat feature that it also adds in there. You can, with the R10, you can use it with iPhone and Android. But I'll talk about some of the downfalls of that in the setup and other um, parts of the video. So a lot of neat features that the Approach R10 has that I think goes above and beyond some of the other launch monitors and simulators in that price range. Now let's talk about setup. Okay, the setup of the Approach R10 and how I feel about it. So the setup, one of the things that it comes with is the charging cord, and it's really easy to charge it. All you do is plug this into the Approach, plug this into your computer, plug this end into your computer. This end goes in the back of the um, Approach R10, and it will just charge, and you can see that it's charging. A thing that I do not like about the charging is it really doesn't tell you, how much it's charging. You have to go kind of search for how much it's charged and those type of things. So it doesn't really give you a battery reading. It would be nice if on it gave you, how much charge you have in it, like you do with your phone. So you have to kind of search and to see if your Garmin approach is charged. But it's really easy to see if you're charging your R10, it's really easy to see when it's fully charged. It's just hard to see as it decreases when you need to charge it. So that's something that I think Garmin could work on and add in there. So really easy to get it charged. Now, once you get it charged, a neat little thing that it has, and very important, is the stand. And the stand is easily put on there. I have a video on the setup if you want to really take a close look at how you set it up. But it's really easy to put that on so that it'll stand up behind you. And then this little device, you connect it, connect these two things, and this will sit on your bag. You can hook it up to your bag, and it will actually hold your phone. So if you want to use it on your phone and keep your phone right there so you can see it, you can put it right on your bag. That's what I do when I'm outside, and so you can easily have it connected to your phone. All right. So one thing that it can be troublesome is that the Garmin Approach R10 requires a lot of distance between the net and the ball, and between the ball and the R10. So you're going to set it up. You're going to set up the R10 behind the ball, but you have to set it up between 6 and 8 feet behind the ball. Well, one problem that I face is I'm at that front edge of that 6 feet behind the ball inside. Outside, I'm fine. but inside it can be very difficult to get that much space in your golf simulator room. So, that's kind of a downfall of the R10 is you really need a lot of space to be able to use it. And you want to have a lot of space in front of the ball so they can really track it. You don't have enough space, it can't really track it, and then it's doing a lot of guessing, and you don't want that. So make sure that you have a lot of space if you're going to get the Garmin R10. So let's talk about turning on and powering on your Garmin approach. There's not a lot of instruction that goes with the approach that I found. And so it seems really simple because there's one power on button that you're supposed to push and hold. Okay. And so you push it on, you turn it on, and it'll be a green light. Okay. You can see the green light, and then it'll start flashing different colors. And you have to know what those colors mean. Okay. You can see it flash in different colors. And so uh, I had a hard time trying to figure it out. And so, you think that it would be really easy. And sometimes I'll forget you got to hold the button to turn it all the way off. And sometimes I'll forget that and it'll still be on. So I wanted to read to you what each of the lights mean. Okay. And so I had to search for this. This was hard to find, believe it or not. I went to the manual and the manual didn't really have it. I had to search and type in powering on. And so it was hard to find. So I finally found it. It says status LED, uh, solid blue, the device is in pairing mode. So if you get a solid blue, it's in pairing mode. So it's pairing obviously with your smartphone. Flashing blue, the device is reconnecting to the previously connected smartphone. So I think that's if you already are paired with your Bluetooth with your smartphone. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. That's what that means. Solid white, the device is in mass storage mode. Okay, I guess it's storing stuff. Flashing white, which I'll see all the time, the device is in standby mode, so it must be waiting to do something. Flashing green, the device is ready for a shot, which you'll really want to know. And then solid red, the device is busy. And flashing purple, which I haven't seen, a software update is in progress. So those are the different lights that you have to know and figure out. The main ones, and I think that you need to really know is first pairing it. Okay, and there's a secret to that. You want to when you first turn it on. I did a video on this earlier. When you first turn it on, you want to wait. Okay, and then hold it till you get that solid blue light, and that should pair it. I had a hard time really pairing it with the iPhone. It took me forever, and finally I got on the forums and I found somebody that helped me and said the manual is kind of wrong. And so, it took me a while to actually pair it. But once you pair it, you then make sure that you get a red light. I look back and I'll kind of waggle, get a red light, and then it'll be a flashing green, and that'll tell me that I'm good to go. So you got to make sure that you get that flashing green behind you before you swing. It'll be red and then it'll flash green. And so if you're a person that likes to waggle a lot, which I used to, I like to take 2 waggles and then go. That really messed it up because as soon as you waggle, it'll go red, and then I'd swing and I wouldn't get it recorded. So you got to be very careful that you waggle once, make sure it's flashing green, and then hit. So it is a difficult thing in terms of kind of getting started with it and getting it paired. Another thing I found is that switching over to I had an Android, so I paired it with an Android, and then pairing it with the iPhone was a little more difficult. Um, and so, it just took me a while to get it done. So, it has one button, and it seems like a very simple thing. I think if it added more buttons as opposed to flashing lights, because sometimes it's just hard to figure out what's going on. And do I push it again? Do I not? Do I wait? And so, that was a kind of difficult thing with the setup of the R10. One little thing about setting up inside versus outside. I really think the Garmin Approach R10 is better outside than it is inside. Um, the space that you need, they even say in the manual that you need like 8 feet in front of the ball when you're hitting inside. And also the lighting. I don't know. I like to project it onto my screen. And I'll talk about that in a sec. Project it on my screen and then turn off the lights. And I usually have a light on the ball so I can see the ball, but turn off the light so I can really see the projector. I don't know if that affects. The lighting may affect the R10 because I've kind of had some mixed results with it. So inside, I'm not sure I like the R10 as much. I still think it's usable. I still think it's good with the E6, but I'm not sure if it's affecting some of my accuracy and things like that. So be aware of the lighting on the inside. The other thing that I had is I don't like to use my phone to look at E6. If I'm playing a course or even playing the Home T Hero is not bad to play it off your phone because it's more gamey. But when I want to get the realism of E6 and actually seeing the landscape and things like that of the course, you have to get something to connect it to your projector. I found I used this. This cost me another $50 to plug into my projector. It plugs into the projector and then it plugs into the HDMI of the projector and then plugs into your phone. Some people have told me that they use the Apple TV, I believe, to project it. So some people use that. I don't, but I heard that's a good option too. So indoors, you do have to do some more things to kind of get it to being playable and usable. Unlike the OptiShot, which just projects it, right there, and it's really easy. OptiShot, I think I did a video on how long it takes me to set up the OptiShot, no time at all. And so with that, keep that in mind as you go through the setup and using the R10 inside. Now, outdoors, you have the room, love it, in terms of being able to get accuracy, not worrying about the light, things like that. So I think the R10 is more for outside than it is in. It's usable inside, and I think it has some advantages inside in terms of, I love to be able to play during the winter. So anyway, that's the idea behind inside. All right, so now let's talk about connecting to the E6 and the Home T Hero. I did um, use I had an Android phone and I could not get it connect to the E6. And maybe they've done some updates and maybe they figured out. Some people were able to. I tried to do it with the desktop, connect for the desktop on the Android because they really kind of favor, to be honest, the R10 is favoring the iPhone. And so if you have an Android phone, I might wait to jump into the R10 because I just think they're not ready with the Android yet and all the things that go along with it. iPhone, they give you 5 free courses with E6. It kind of was they're kind of focusing on that. With Android, they don't give you those courses and you can't use it on your phone really. And so you have to do the desktop. Well, I had trouble connecting to the desktop. I was contacting E6. I've done a video on it, contacting E6, contacting Garmin, trying to figure it out. Finally, I just got a refund from it. And luckily, I switched to the iPhone. So now I was able to use the E6. But I got to tell you, I had difficulty carrying my phone at first until I got the information on how to do it. So it did take me a little bit to get it on the iPhone, but once you do get it on your iPhone and you're connected to E6, there's some processes and some steps you have to do in E6. You may have to log in and those type of things, but E6 gives you a lot of different options. And so it takes you a little bit to kind of figure out E6 and what it provides you. But once you get it set up with E6, I think that's the way to go. And so, maybe wait with Android. Maybe it's different now. When I had my Android phone, I couldn't do E6, and so it was kind of frustrating. But once I had the iPhone, boom, I was able to finally figure it out, and it was good to go. One other thing I want to note is connecting to the Home T Hero was really easy on both Android and iPhone. The one thing that I had, if you are planning on switching at some point from Android to iPhone, um, be careful because the Home T Hero does not transfer. So I paid for the Home T Hero on my Android phone, and I still have that membership, but it does not transfer. I have to get a whole new membership with the iPhone because Google and I guess Android don't swap information. And so because it was on the Google Play Store and not the Apple Store, it doesn't do it. So I have to buy separate. So right now I'm sitting and I'm not going to pay for the subscription on my iPhone until the other subscription runs out. Otherwise, I'm kind of double dipping. I'm wasting. I don't know. I just didn't think it was worth it to pay the $100 again. Um, so be aware of that. If you are planning on switching in the future, you can't just switch. It doesn't, you buy a subscription on Android, it doesn't transfer over necessarily to the iPhone. I think E6 does. The Home Team Hero, because you get it through Google Play Store, doesn't. So just another little tidbit. All right, so now let's talk about ease of use and kind of give you an idea of how easy the R10 is compared to other um, launch monitors and simulators. The R10, love the portability of it. I've mentioned that before. And I think it's easy to kind of get it set up. It takes some time to align it. It's very important to get it aligned correctly. I know some people have put out, some devices that help you align it. You really need to align it behind your ball. It has this red line, and you want that red line to really line up with your ball. And so it does take some doing. When I was on the course and I was kind of rushed because you got groups behind and groups in front, and I wanted to use it on the course, the alignment was really hard to do. And it has to also be level. So you got to make sure you keep it kind of level. So in terms of ease of use of that, it does take some working. I also mentioned the ease of use with the iPhone and connecting it and the Android, where how they connect. So you got to be aware of that. The driving range. One of the things with the driving range, I really like the driving range that the Garmin Approach R10 uses. You do have the option to use the driving range on some of the game modes on the um, E6. So that's another thing that you can keep in mind is those game modes, the driving range on there. But on the R10, I really do like the driving range. The only issue, and I've heard this, is that you can only see right off the bat 3 stats. So you get to pick those stats, okay? And so you can pick whether you want to see carry distance, swing path, from all the different ones, club face angle, etc. I kind of use those. And then it will tell you if you use the voice activation, it'll actually tell you a 4 stat. So you get 4 stats every time you hit, and so it's really easy to look. But then you have to scroll to get all the other stats, and the other stats are really not organized very well. I'll show you that also. As you scroll, it's kind of difficult to tell them apart and really get into the stats with the driving range. So that's kind of a bummer that you have to kind of scroll through. It would be nice to have all the stats right there in an easy to see way. And so I think Garmin can work on that. But I do like that you get 3 stats. You can pick which 3, and then you can do one that's a voice. So, I like to kind of keep things simple. A lot of people like many different stats and to look at all their stats. I like to kind of focus on stats, so it's not a big deal to me. Some people it might be. Now, with the driving range, you also are able to video your swing. And so you can actually take it. It's really easy to do. And take a video of each swing that you hit. You can look at the stats and compare it to the video. You can send it to your pro if you want, things like that. You can put notes on it. It also has a voice, like the voice caddy. It'll have a voice that can say out some of the stats, or at least one of the stats. And you can get and hear how far you hit it maybe, or if you want to know your club path, things like that. It has a voice kind of caddy that you can use. So some neat deals with the uh, stats and how how you can use them and the video of your swing. All right, so one of the things that I think is very important, especially for improvement, we'll talk about that later, is getting your stats kind of lumped together and averages and things like that. And the Approach R10, I love the shot distribution that it gives. You can see this a little bit. You can see it for each iron. You can see where it hits and kind of a shot distribution on your range. So you can see if you're really hooking the ball or fading the ball in there. Um, and you can click on each of those and it'll show the actual shot. And so you can see the actual shot, and I like being able to do that. Just click on different shots and see how I did. The problem that I see with the improvement aspect is it really on here, you know, here I have 50 shots on here, and it only is going to give you a couple of different averages. It gives you a max total, so your yards, your max total yards average, and then it also will give you the minimum total yards average on your distance. So it's really focusing on distance, and then average total carry distance and average total distance. So if you want to really look at your average club face angle, for example, or your average smash factor, or you want to take another, spin, you want to take another stat and get an average, it doesn't do that for you. And that is kind of a bummer because, that's the important stuff is you want to be able to, yeah, average, I can club myself now really well because I know exactly how far I'm averaging, my minimum, my maximum. So I can really club myself and I know what clubs I'm going to hit. But for improvement, it doesn't help me with my club face angle. I like to be able to see an average of, I can go back and look, obviously, at my club face angle and kind of see, but it doesn't give you that average. The OptiShot kind of gives you an average, and a lot of the major simulators and launch monitors will give you averages. I know my Swing Caddy and my PRGR give you, you can go through and see some of the averages of your shots and the different things. So that would be nice to be able to see, okay, what am I averaging in terms of my smash factor for my 6-iron? Or what am I averaging? What is my club face angle doing with my driver as opposed to with my 3-iron? That would be nice in the ultimate golf simulator. Okay, so one thing I do like is they do give an explanation. If you click on each of the stats, you can get an explanation. It kind of tells you what each stat is. That's very important if you really want to improve your game. You got to know what you're tracking and what the stats are tracking. All right, golfers. So there you have my Garmin Approach R10 review part 1. Okay, I focused today on the settings, the ease of use, and the features. In the next videos, I'll be focusing on accuracy. I'll be focusing on your improvement. I'll be focusing on some of the game modes and some of the things, and I'll give you kind of an overall view of what I think about the Garmin Approach R10. And I'll be doing, you can see how well the Garmin R10 fits for what you want in a golf simulator and launch monitor. So please hit the notification button. Make sure you're following because I'm going to be doing the other parts to this. I also have a lot of other videos comparing different simulators and launch monitors. Take a look at those, see if those fit better for you. I know a lot of people have the OptiShot. I'm going to be doing a comparison later on the OptiShot and the R10 and which one you should get. But hopefully this gives you an idea, kind of a starting idea of what is good and what are some of the issues with the Garmin Approach R10. All right, we'll see you on the golf course.